Welcome to the first video in my digital marketing's mini-series. Check out this other video if you haven't already for an introduction of these skills and how they go together, the order, and how it could make sense to you to start with this strategic path. In this series, I'll go into more details on these different aspects. Let's go. As I've mentioned in the strategic path to a skilled digital marketer video, it's best to start your journey with web design because it's the easiest way to learn marketer skills. If you have a built website, then you can also experiment on it. Web design basically is the process of imagining, conceptualizing, and refining the schematics and blueprints of your design, of your website. We can easily compare this to architectural work, having to know the details and abstract concepts that make a good web design intuitive, simple, and beautiful. When it comes to designing a website, you'll want to consider the UI and the UX. UI is the user's interface. It's what a visitor will interact with. It's what they'll be clicking and scrolling on. Basically, they have to do with the elements on a page. Having a consistent design that people can easily interact with and understand how the buttons look, how the menu looks, how the pieces of text and images are placed, the number of information on a page, all these portray the looks of the design. Also, a very important factor that many beginners tend to have trouble with is spacing, especially white space or empty space. Check out Apple's website. There's not too much on the page, and the spacing is a big part of their design. It makes the user feel comfortable and makes it easy for them to digest the information. Now UX, on the other hand, is the user experience. It's the feeling and the abstract of the design. What does the user come out with from visiting your website? How does he feel while navigating the website? All these exciting elements that can make a website, make you feel at ease on a website. Are they finding what they're looking for? Are they following the trail that you set for them, your funnel? All these things have to do with the user experience. Now UX and UI, they both work together, and some things can concern both the UX and the UI at the same time. Let's grab a little example here. Let's say you have a little piece of bread and you've been kidnapped. How will you cut these pieces of bread? When will you drop them? This has to do with the UX and the UI. The way you cut them is the UI, and the UX is where and when you'll be placing them. So you might cut the pieces really small to have more. At the same time, it might be hard for a person to actually see them. Do you cut them square? Do you cut them round, thick or thin? These have to do with the UI. They're like the elements on the page. But the UX is basically where and when you'll be placing them, so that maybe the person can find them more conveniently, or it'll be maybe easier for them to find them, and they can maybe understand from the start that they're actually looking at breadcrumbs that someone maybe left to have them rescued. Because they might see a piece of bread and be like, oh, it's a piece of bread, like who cares? If you put it in a specific place, it might make them think that there's something more to it than that. And that's the experience, what you get out of it. Now let me give a short and easy example. You land on a website and you're greeted with a really cool and nice looking pop-up. No matter how good it looks, the fact that it popped up as soon as you came in is a bad experience. They didn't even let me watch what I wanted to watch from the beginning. The pop-up looked great, but that's the UI. And it came too soon, and that's the UX. And so good UX would let me find out what I need to find on the site first, and then it would pop up. Now if I click on a page and I'm more interested, now that's a good time to show me a pop-up, because I'm already interested. Nobody likes a pop-up, but when the UI, the looks, and the appropriate timing is met with the UX, then it can be less annoying, and it can actually be intriguing to have a nice looking pop-up that came at the right time for the right thing. Now the last thing I want to touch on here is a bundle that I call the stylistic trio: the font typography, color palettes, and mood boarding. These three are very important in the beginning parts of your website. You have to be consistent with your colors and typography. Finding them before you start is always a better choice. Your brand might be about a bold statement. Then maybe you want a bolder font, maybe squarish. For example, a gym. That would go nicely with their customer base. But it doesn't mean it ends at that. You don't have to choose something bold. It all depends on the brand's feel and the types of customer you'll be targeting. I should mention that defining your customer avatar is a very important process of having your brand fit with the target market. I'll make a specific video on that, building a customer avatar, so you can get started as quick as you can. If you want a deeper look into all of these different areas, let me know. And let me know anything you want me to touch up on some more. And hit that bell if you like this type of content. And if you want to see the rest of the mini-series, then get subscribed. Also, watch the strategic path if you haven't already. It's an introduction to this mini series that I'm going on right now. All right, later.